everybody. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Truth Podcast. My guest today is Dan Warburton, and he's here with me right now. Ever since he was young, he's been so ambitious that his parents told him to be realistic, which I totally identify with. He has been bullied at school, laughed at by his school teachers for bad grades, and then when he went on to fail in launching over 30 business ideas. I totally understand that too. So many years of failing caused him to hit a deep depression and feel angry that the world seemed unfair. By his mid-30s, after completing over 200 courses in self-transformation, leadership, and entrepreneurship, he finally began to succeed at creating businesses that now enable him to live the lifestyle that he's always dreamed of. Because of all those years of failing before succeeding, Dan is now on a mission to use his transformational, come on, I'm supposed to be able to talk here, guys, coaching skills to enable as many aspiring and committed entrepreneurs as possible to also succeed at creating and living a lifestyle of their dreams. And he's now coached over 1,000 entrepreneurs. That's a lot, 1,000 entrepreneurs. That is so good. And has web spaces full of testimonials from his clients saying what results he's created for them. You know, things that they've never imagined possible. His first book, Dream It, Choose It, Live It, went number 7 in Amazon bestsellers, which was placed amongst publications of other giants such as Elon Musk and Richard Branson. Oh my goodness. While his book is also recommended by the great Robin Sharma, also world-renowned leadership coach and author of the book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Awesome. As a result of all this, he is now regularly invited to speak in front of large audiences all over the world. Without any further delay, let me welcome the impact-focused entrepreneurs coach, Dan Warburton. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Brilliant. So great to be here. Thank you for the warm introduction.
Oh, that was awesome. I love your story. I can't lie. I'm going through it myself. How did you usually my first question is what lit your fire to become an entrepreneur? I think I'm going to go with that first, but I got so many deep dive questions today. We're going with that first though. What did it for you? What lit that fire? Did you always kind of have that?
I think, when I was younger, I just saw people around me that were stuck in employment positions, working long hours, as my father was. And all I ever heard was my father say, "Oh God, I need to go back in the office." And there was this kind of experience of being stuck in a loop that was just going round and round and round. And I saw no joy in the eyes of the people around me. I just saw this relentless, kind of existence that people felt they were being forced into. And so when I was very young, I made the decision that I was not going to live a mediocre existence. And I was either going to die of absolute exhaustion, or I was going to succeed in an absolutely extraordinary way. And I've maintained that commitment to this day at the age of 42.
Wow, man. That's so, see, I'm 50. So I just want to let you know, I totally get where you're coming from. And were there any like internal or external roadblocks that you kind of, or obstacles that you had to overcome during this journey? I mean, we talked about all these business ventures and the failures and all that stuff. I've never met an overnight success. So if you could talk a little bit about that part of it, because people are stuck in that right now and need to.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, with the virus, infections creeping up around the world, there's the importance of having an empowered mindset is now times 1,000 needed than it was before. Already, 4 out of 5 businesses fail in the first 4 years. That kind of a statistic is already tough. You then add to that what's going on around the world, and it makes it even more difficult. And so for me, the thing that was the greatest challenge, I didn't know until I broke through it and came out the other side, was my own mindset. I didn't realize how, even though I was so ambitious and so determined, how absolutely in the way of myself I was. And through a powerful coaching conversation about 8 years ago, I was with one of my coaches, and we were in this transformational training center, and I was sat there with him, and I asked him, why am I failing so much? Why can I never seem to succeed? And so he took me through this real powerful kind of coaching, questioning, inquiry. And I was brought back to an event that happened to me when I was just 3 years old. And I was sat in this double push pram with my brother next to me. And it was a beautiful sunny day. My mother came out of the shop, and I put my hands up so she could give me what she bought. She ignored me and gave it to my brother. And I couldn't believe it. This thing, my brother, had taken all the love and attention away from me and ruined my life. So to get my revenge, I leant over and I bit his ear really hard. And he screamed and screamed and cried and cried. And so my father ran over to me, and in a stern voice, he said, "No, you mustn't do that. He's your brother. You must love your brother." And at this point, my brother was then getting even more love and attention from my mother, whilst I'm being shouted at now. And there's other people looking over and seeing this happen. So I'm now also feeling really embarrassed. But I saw that in that moment, what I was thinking was, I'm just not good enough. Nobody wants me. Mm. And the realization was that I'd spent my life trying to prove to the world that I am actually good enough and wanted. But I didn't realize that I was so dominated, ruled by that subconscious view that I'd invented of myself and the world at the age of 3. And so what happened was I tried a lot of business ventures that were very much about having me look good, be loved, be wanted, be the center of attention, from trying to make it as a DJ, from wanting to create interior designs to have people go, wow. You know, part of it was, wanting to give people an amazing experience, but really more than anything, I wanted to see my name in lights. I wanted to be the man. I wanted to be this thing. And I know that Tony Robbins speaks about this, you know, the 6 human needs, and one of them is significance. So we all crave significance. But I think that there's a point of significance where it's unhealthy, where we crave it so badly that we'll actually give away success or not take the actions that we need to actually succeed. And we'll fool the world and ourselves into believing that we're doing our best, we're trying our best, we're out there doing everything we possibly can, whereas secretly we're actually avoiding not only failing, but also ever actually truly succeeding. So we keep ourselves at a kind of a safe level that we feel that we can maintain, just to maintain this dance, this appearance in the eyes of others. And so that transformational coaching conversation was the awakening moment when I saw that my whole life had been run by trying to survive the world as I'm just not good enough, nobody wants me. Wow. And the breakthrough was that I invented that. It's not true, and I no longer need to be that any longer. And within months after that, I began to succeed. My businesses took off. My relationship took off. Very quickly, I had businesses that were automated. I was just answering the call, closing sales, passing the deals on for these small building repairs onto a team of people that was managed by someone else. So I no longer had to manage people. I gave up this whole thing of needing a whole team of people and expanding and keep spending. You know, the more profit you have, the more you employ, the more you expand. All of that went out the window. I didn't need it anymore. I could see that all I needed was to have a good chunk of money coming in, and in just a few hours that gave me the freedom to travel the world. And that's what I did. And I left and I started traveling the world, and I pretty much never went home again.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So the shift in the mindset. Okay, let me get this right. So the shift in the mindset created what in you? What changed? What was the change inside of you that changed all the businesses, the relationships? What was the point of view or the paradigm shift that happened?
It was moving from, instead of viewing myself as I'm just not good enough, nobody wants me, to seeing that that's not true, that doesn't even exist, that I invented it. So I no longer needed to take actions to have me be wanted, to look good, to fit in. I didn't have to do the play it safe thing. You know, I could take really big, bold actions. And one of the opportunities that came along was a friend of mine said, "Hey, we're getting on a plane and we're going to Singapore." And I said, "Where's Singapore?" They said, "It's nearly the other side of the world from England." I said, "Okay. And what are you doing out there?" They said, "Well, we're meeting the world's biggest events organizer. Then these are the guys that put on the events for Tony Robbins. They're the guys that have had Donald Trump speak on their stages and T. Harv Eker and all these other massive names. And they said, we're going to go out there, network, and we're going to see if we can get some speaking gigs with them. Do you want to come? All right, then, why not? So, you know, I started to take actions like that. I chose to get on a plane just to go networking for 5 days on the other side of the world on the off chance that something might happen. I then flew out there and I ended up meeting the CEO, Veronica Tan and Richard Tan of Success Resources. And I said to Veronica, I said, if I move out here, will it create opportunities for as a speaker? And she said, well, yes, of course. So 5 days later, I went back to England. I then sold everything that I owned. I got down to a suitcase. I waved goodbye to all my family, all my friends, and I moved out there. These are the kind of actions that I started to take. Totally massive, laser-focused action. And then I went out there and then I ended up meeting them again, networking with them. And then I ended up meeting some of their top speakers. And one of their top speakers, a multimillionaire called Sean Sear, when I met him, he said, who are you? What are you doing here? And I said, my name's Dan Warburton. I'm a transformational coach. And I've left my life in England to become a speaker for Success Resources. And he said, oh, that's interesting. Let's go for lunch. We went for lunch. And he said, I don't know if this interests you. I'm just going to throw it out there. But what if I train you in how to become a high-level speaker and close sales? You can sell my investing programs, where then I lead the programs to teach people how to invest. But then you'll learn not only how to invest in the process, but you'll also learn how to become a high-level speaker and close sales. I said, why not? So then I got mentoring for a top millionaire in how to become a speaker. But I just kept saying yes. And then he said, right, I need you to rehearse these slides. There's about 180. You need to be able to deliver them in an hour and a half. You're going to see me do this 5 times. On the 6th time, you're going to go and do it. And that was it. So then I watched him from the back of the room and I recorded it so that then I had the slides and then the recording of him. And I saw what he said and then I'd say it. And then I saw the slide and then I'd say it. And then I saw what he said and then I'd do it. And I did that again and again and again. On the 6th occasion, that was it. It put me in front of an audience of about 50 people. And I had to learn how to close high ticket sales. I mean, these were for an investment program that probably cost in US dollars, it's about $3,000 US. Wow. And on the first occasion, like I only closed like 2 or 3%. But he said, the fact that you did that on your first time, that's like amazing. So I just stuck to everything he said I had to learn and do and improve. I went and did it. And soon I was starting to close 20% of these audiences. And then that money that I earned from the percentages, I then invested it in sort of high profile speaker training with another guy called Eric Ho. And his training was amazing. And then I was closing 45, 50% of the audiences. And I was outselling all of his other speakers. And then that was it. I then started traveling all over the world. And I've now shared the stages with many, you know, of the world's renowned speakers. And from that, my one-on-one coaching business, enabling entrepreneurs to, you know, become sort of expert branded online experts, it's just taken off. And that's what I mainly do now. And I use transformation to enable people to break through the mindsets and the ways of viewing themselves that holds them back. Because I've noticed a direct correlation that we all create a reflection of what we think we are and think we're not. And so Henry Ford's saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right, is absolutely it. You know, if you think I can't do this, I'm stupid, I don't fit in, there's something wrong with me, I can't do this, you know, then we end up taking actions to reflect that. And what are those actions? Those actions aren't non-action. Now, why would we take non-action? Well, we would take non-action because we feel that even if we took action, we're not going to succeed anyway. So then we don't take action at all. We procrastinate, we avoid, we play small. We do the dancing thing of proving to everyone, oh, I'm trying so hard, I'm trying my best, but it's really hard out there. And there's the coronavirus now and all of this, whatever else the next excuse will be. And that's what that mindset produces. And then we end up producing the results that prove to us that I can't do it, I'm not good enough and all of that. Whereas if we think I'm unstoppable, I'm alive, I'm free, I'm a human with unlimited potential, and anything I set my mind to and commit to with 100% commitment, I can and absolutely will, maybe not achieve, but with that commitment, I'm going to create incredible results, and I can. And then we then take actions. Why do we take actions in that? Because we feel that we can. We feel that we do get results. And then we end up proving by the results that show up that I can do it. I am powerful. I am unstoppable. I am full of potential. So we all end up creating a direct reflection of what we think we are and think we're not. So now my life's work is committed to enabling people to transform their mindset from one of I can't to one of I can. And that's it.
It is it. And the thing also is that when you have that mindset and when you break through, your business breaks through as well, because you're a mirror image for who you are. Who you are inside is the mirror image for what your business is on the outside.
Yes.
And so when you hit that aha moment, here's a good question. When did that transformation feel real for you? And what I mean by that is you're on stage with these people and you're like, oh my God, it's this person, and me. When did that take place that it's like, oh, it's this person, and me, and I fit in with that?
It was actually way before that moment. It was when I realized I don't need to be this I'm not good enough, nobody wants me story. And it was when I started going out, knocking on doors. And the first business that I began to create after this sort of transformational insight was one that offered 24-hour emergency plumbing and drainage services, along with other things. And so I was walking into very classy letting agents. But my heart was beating and I could feel panic and I could feel fear. But I knew that that was all caused just by that internal dialogue, that story. And it was this feeling of, I've so got this and I'm so closing this right now. And this has nothing to do with how I feel. Because how I feel is just made up of a whole load of stories. Now I use feelings to navigate whether I'm moving further away or towards truth. And it's a bit of a game that I think we play with our feelings.
Oh, so it's almost like a gauge now.
That it's just a gauge. It's nothing to do with reality. Before it was reality.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
No, go for it.
It's like, do you feel like now when those feelings of fear and dread and all that stuff you say, oh, I think that might be the right direction?
You've got it. You've hit it in one. Exactly that. And that was the feeling when I realized that I belong here.
Yes.
It's like I'm one of the human beings that instead of running away from fear or trying to become more comfortable is the norm, I've decided to do the opposite. I look for where there's discomfort. I look for the actions that I don't feel like doing, and then I run at them like a bull in a china shop.
Nice.
And at first it was almost a bit maybe irresponsible, a bit too aggressive on myself perhaps, but very quickly what looked like a brick wall became a very thin veil. Like you're at a networking event, that's somebody with massive power, connections, he's got people around him, he's charming, these people are like that. And it's like, who am I compared to them? Who am I? And you can be in that internal dialogue, thinking about it. Shall I go and approach them? Shall I say hello? What do I say? What do I do? And now what I do when I go networking is I walk into an event, I put a jacket on a hook, I turn around, I look for whoever's got the whole crowd captivated. I'll walk straight in, to a group of 8 people. I'll say, hi there, so sorry to barge in. I saw you speaking from across the room. And it looks like you're really passionate about what you do. My name's Dan Warburton. Who are you? And I'd almost come across as a little bit bolshy, a little bit arrogant, a little bit loud, but I have a bit of fun with it as well. And then that guy ends up shaking my hand, and I haven't even given a chance for all of that fear to run me or own me. And once you practice that, you'll recognize that there's just a 3-second window in which our disempowering stories own us and run us. And you can do as much transformational work as you want on it, but you're always going to feel that fear to some level. And if you just show up powerfully in the first 3 seconds of each moment, in those fight or flight moments, like you're about to pick up the phone to make a sales call and you start thinking, shall I call them? Shall I not? What shall I say? Shall I don't? Well, that's 1, 2, 3. Too late. You've missed it.
Wow.
It's too late. It's too late. The survival mechanism is running you.
You're so right, though, because, you know, we do go through that and you can almost count it in your head. You know, you start to think about it. And once you turn that brain on, all of a sudden, that's it. Right. It's over.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. So what I've learned is those first 3 seconds, you know, somebody says, Dan, do you want to get on stage? Yes, why not? And then I'll think about afterwards. Shall I make this sale call? Oh, too late. The phone's ringing. Shall I walk into this shop? What am I going to say? Hey, my name's Dan. I just across the road, and I thought I'd walk in and introduce myself. And now I've learned to just not give my survival mechanism a flipping chance. Nothing. Zip. That's it. I'm doing this now. In, go, kill.
That's awesome. Because a lot of people.
And it becomes habit. It becomes habit.
Yeah. And then you can take your strongest fear, which is usually the right way to go, and just go for it instead of, oh my God, who am I? What am I going to say? All these things run through your head. And as soon as they do, they get worse with every time you think about it.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, once that grips you, you're done. It's over.
That's it.
How do you, okay, so I'm going to flip something real quick. So say there is entrepreneurs that you're coaching, you're dealing with, and they're stuck. I mean, they're just absolutely stuck. They can't figure out why life is against them. Because I've heard this over and over again. Trust me, the world doesn't want me to succeed. At every turn, there's something that goes wrong, and blah, 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 blah. What do you say to that person?
And it's funny, I've got somebody I'm coaching that's just like that. And she was just beginning to start making momentum, and then this whole virus thing kicks in, and now she's having to be stuck at home, you know, working from home, and she's got her family staying with her that are totally non-entrepreneurially minded. So they're always complaining and watching like CNN and all this news go round and round. And she's like, Dan, what do I do? What do I do? And I said, well, as you've learned from me, transformation is only 50% of the success formula. The other 50% is your environment. And you'll never succeed when you're surrounded around people that do not empower themselves, because they can't empower you. So the first thing to do is you need to have a straight conversation with them, and you need to tell them that you now need to work from home, and that working from home is your current livelihood. So you need to lock your door, and that you need to not be disturbed between this time and this time. And what I've done is I've given her an assignment of 15 minutes of listening to positive and empowering, talks on YouTube, a book she's reading, whatever it is. Because what I've noticed is, as Jim Rohn's quote says, your life is the sum of the 5 people you most spend your time with. If you can't spend, in other words, let me explain that if you were to look at the 5 people you spend the most time with, and you look at their kind of eating habits, and you take the average of all those 5 people's eating habits, that's your eating habits. If you add up how much the 5 people you spend the most time with are earning and divide it by 5, so you get the average, you'd actually find it's pretty much what you're earning. And that goes for all other areas of their life as well. So if you're spending time with people that drink a lot, complain a lot, are not ambitious, you know, you're already facing an uphill battle. And I think this is a major thing that a lot of coaches miss out, as they do a lot of the mindset work, but they don't address the environment that individual's living in.
That's true. I want to add one thing to that, because you're so right, and yet there's another element to it. Because if you take the 5 people that you most deal with, and you have to give out energy to them and try to kind of pull them up to your point of view, or do you have the top 5 people you hang out with gives you energy and helps you to see a different point of view or a different level? They're almost pulling you up. there is a huge difference between the energy transfer between people that are compatible with you or people that you're trying to make compatible with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You've hit it on one. Exactly. And the company that we need to choose needs to be the ones that empower us. The ones that maybe criticize us, but they criticize us from a context of empowering, to nurture, not to criticize, to try and crush you so that then they can look good in front of you, you know, beat you down so that they can then be risen higher. And that's how a lot of people are out there. In fact, 95% of people, I would say, actually are of that kind of mindset. You know, the reason why I got on the plane to go networking was because the guy I was going with was absolutely playing full out with so much, you know, a shout out to Harry Sardinas. He's a speaker trainer coach, but he had the courage to go and invest loads of money in Facebook adverts in posh hotel rooms and fill them up with people whilst he's learning how to close sales, and to keep doing it and doing it and doing it until he got it right. I mean, that's somebody that's playing full out. So I'm spending time with him. I then got on a plane with him, went to Singapore. I'm then spending time with the CEO of the world's biggest speaker event organizer, you know,
Wow.
and then Sean Sear, this other multimillionaire. I've now gone into partnership with him. I said to him, how would you like to grow your business across Europe? He said, that sounds amazing. What are you thinking? And I said, well, why don't we create a brand new company? You can be 51% shareholder owner, so you're the investor and the mentor. I'll take 49%, but I'll do all the legwork. All you've got to do is mentor me to become the version of you in Europe. He said, that sounds amazing. Let's do it. So all of a sudden, I've now got a key partnership worth hundreds of thousands of mentoring, but I've done it through strategically positioning myself so that I'm of interest to him. Why have I done that? Because I know that my life is a sum of the 5 people I spend the most time with. So I will angle, barter, steal, push, shove, coach, do whatever it takes to be spending time with these people that are so much more successful with me. And then I become their friends. And then they're the only people that I spend time with. And that's it.
Yeah,
and I
go.
would rather be alone on my own for months on end and then spend a week with somebody like that and then go back to being 3 months on my own, than spend 2 months with somebody down the pub that bitches and complains and says, let's drink alcohol and watch the latest coronavirus news. You know, I've just got no time for it.
Oh, absolutely. Because people think, it's like sometimes reality is too real for people, and that they fail to realize we create our own reality. We create our own luck. They don't know.
Yeah.
See, that's the whole thing. They feel like the victim rather than the empowered person.
Yeah, very, very well distinguished. Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's like, so how do you get the people? And there's another group of people I want to talk about real quick. So here's the question. Do you get the people that I can't make any money online? I can't, for some reason, I put stuff out there, nobody sees it, or I can't make the right partnerships. And so I'm just, I'm a failure at making money online or making money at an event. There's something like that. There's this huge money block that they have. Have you ran into that?
Yeah, many times. And it always comes back to the same story. What is it that you subconsciously think you are and think you're not? Yeah. Like, have you been through a hard time at school? Were you bullied a lot? Were your parents really strict with you? Were they alcoholics? Were you maybe sexually abused? What is it? What is that traumatic, difficult time you've been through? And for many, it doesn't even need to be particularly traumatic. For me, I got very loving parents, but just in that moment, when I was 3 years old, my dad was a bit stern with me, and I went and invented, I'm just not good enough, nobody wants me. And so when we're run by these subconscious ways of viewing ourselves in the world, we directly attach that identity to everything. So like, if I'm being my story of I'm just not good enough and I'm looking at money, what does money bring with it? Well, money brings with it power. Money brings with it responsibility. Money brings with it envy from others. It brings having to have discipline. It brings something that you need to manage, you need to take care of, something that you could easily mess up and lose. You know, money can be like sand through your fingers. I'm sure many of an entrepreneur will agree with me on that one. And so the minute that we're faced with the opportunity of making money and holding money and managing money, all our stories from our past of I'm whatever the version is, just gets triggered, really, really violently triggered. And so what happens is we then avoid money. We don't realize we're doing it. But we would rather say there's no money out there, I can't do it, they're not interested. Because you and I know that if you stand in the middle of a city in the world, in the night, in the pitch black, all we can see is a sea of twinkling little lights. Each light is a light in somebody's house, apartment, or flat. Each of those people has some level of money, and each of those people has a problem that needs solving, and that a problem that they're willing to pay money to have solved. And that's as simple as that.
I agree 100%.
Simple as that.
You can look at everything around you, and everything was invented, pretty much. Anything that's man-made was an invention from someone's mind. You know what I mean?
And not just that, but somebody had to pay money for it to then have that in existence.
Yes.
And so coming back to your question of, I can't make money online and things like that, what I did when I was in the situation and didn't have any money was I chose to call myself Super Dan, the handyman. And I wrote out a list. And on this list, it had dog walking, window cleaning, car washing, flat pack assembly, basic handyman works, painting and decorating, patio cleaning, garden weeding, lawn mowing, like everything I felt that I could instantly deliver as a service and get money for straight away. And I wrote it all out on like an A4 page. I went out to a newsagent, and it was like half an A4 page. So I photocopied that once. So then I had two side by side in A4. Then I photocopied that 75 times, took those 75 A4 copies home. When I sliced them in half, it gave me 150 flyers. I then went out knocking on doors in my area, and I just carried on knocking on doors. And I'd knock on a door. If a door didn't open, I would just leave a flyer. If a door did open, I would say, hello there. I didn't want to leave you another piece of junk mail, and I just wanted to put a face to what I'm putting through your door. My name is Super Dan. If any of these services interest you, then give me a call. Thank you for your time. And that's all I did. And I carried on knocking on doors. And because I was printing these off, and I knew I was printing them off in batches of 150, I found out I could just about knock on 150 doors a day. In the end, I knocked on 4,000 doors.
Wow.
4,000 doors. And I know it was because I kept count, because I was printing them off. And I felt panic attacks. I was scared at what people thought of me. I thought, what an idiot, what a dropout, what a loser. I haven't got a normal job. I'm knocking on doors. People must think I'm a gypsy, or, selling something for some kind of religious movement or sect or something. And I chose to ignore all those feelings and all those thoughts and carry on going. And the reason why I stopped at 4,000 doors was because my phone was ringing so much with people needing jobs doing, from little old ladies that said, oh, darling, you couldn't help me. I got one of my kitchen taps is stuck. I'd never done plumbing like that before, but you know what? I just turned up and genuinely tried to help. And if I could get a tap greased up and moving again, they'd pay me $10, $15, and they were happy and said, oh, you're a lovely man. I'll keep your flyer, and if ever I need anything, I'll give you another call. And it just went on and on and on. And in the end, I started doing bits of tiling and carpentry and painting and decorating. I did the whole lot off a 1987 Honda CBX 750F, a retro sports bike. But within 2 months, I'd saved up like £4,000. That's about $5,500 US. And that was my own money. Wow. Didn't need anyone, didn't have a boss anymore. Woke up when I want, did the jobs I wanted to, said no to the jobs I didn't want to do. Got to ride my retro motorbike, around town, go out partying on weekends. I'd done it. I was totally free. And to have the ability out of thin air to go out, make money, and improve the lives of others is the most liberating feeling anyone can ever, ever have, ever. And once you've done that once, you can be dropped off anywhere in the world, any city that speaks English, and you can do it again. Anywhere.
Yes.
And anybody can do this. Anybody.
Wow.
You know, if you're a woman, obviously you can't knock on people's doors, but there's no reason why you couldn't make some flyers and you don't knock on their doors, but you leave a flyer saying, you know, women only massage and therapy service. Text me on this number, you know, expertise, 100% professional service offered by Sandra. And then you have women that are looking forward to just connecting and being pampered. And you can, it's very simple to do face masks and face packs and back and shoulder massage and pedicures and manicures. And you can do a door-to-door service, or have them come over to your place, make your front living room look a bit nice. And I'm guarantee you that you hand out 1,000 flyers, your phone's going to start ringing. Within, I would say, even 7 days, you've got money coming in. You know, okay, it's different now with the virus going around. You've got to look at maybe doing something online. But now what I do is I spend hours and hours and hours messaging people in Facebook Messenger. Hey, how you doing? What are you dealing with? What are you up to? Oh, you're panicked. You're worried. Well, how would you like to have a conversation? I can tell you the 12 strategies that I've got in place to get through the coronavirus. Would you like that? And people are loving it. I connect to them. I tell them what I do. They love my spirit, my mindset, and they, you know, and they say, how do we work together? And then I tell them about my coaching and make them an offer. You know, it's everywhere. Money's everywhere. You just got to say yes to it and be willing to care for people, and willing to find a problem that people have and just say, can I help you solve that? And the first few times, do it for free, just to practice, just to learn, you know?
Yeah, you could now, I mean, nowadays you could hand out flyers, say, I'll go get your groceries for you so you don't have to worry about catching the coronavirus.
Massive. Why not?
Yeah,
and then you
just
could
put a flyer at people's doors, put your phone number down there, and bam.
Wow. That, I think what you've just said there is an absolutely epic opportunity waiting to be had. Yeah, brilliant. So that's what we say to the people that say, I'm not earning any money. Stick that in your pipe and smoke that.
But you have to think that way, though, right? You know, you have to be able to open your mind to things. And once your mind is open, and then you can go ahead and you can branch out and do things you never thought possible before. But I agree with you with, okay, 4,000 is a very good number. Very good number. You've got tons of people then. You know, you're not gonna be able to hand out 2 flyers and have phone calls. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and I think the last thought that most people have before they fail in setting up a business is, I'll see how this goes.
They're not all in.
They're not all in. There's no way. You failed already.
Yeah.
People say to me, Dan, is this the right business for me, or is this the right business for me? I say it's not about which is the right business for you. It's about which one are you committed to. Because when you're in, you are in. That's it.
100%.
You know? And
there's so much opportunity.
You cannot fail when you're all in.
Right.
Exactly. You can't.
Exactly. See how people are looking at the coronavirus, they're looking at all this other stuff. And it's like, you know what? You don't see the opportunity of this, because there is opportunity. People can't gather anymore. People can't do. So can you provide a service for churches that don't know how to set up a live stream? How about that?
Wow. Brilliant idea. Brilliant. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could try to help people that don't know how to connect to a live stream, and go through and create a tutorial for elderly people who can't get to their local places of worship, or their, you know, that was one of the things. See, you know, and connect them, help them.
Yeah.
The store idea, you know, people don't want to go out anywhere to go to the store to get food. You create a service.
Yeah. Wonderful. Great idea.
All of these things that you can do. Stop thinking of what you can't do.
Yeah.
Or why this prevents you from doing things, but start looking at the opportunity of what you have here. What is the opportunity? And then just take it.
That's it. Don't let time pass to number 3. or you're gone. Your survival
God, I
mechanism has
love
pulled you
that.
on.
I love that.
Yeah.
This has been just a wonderful conversation, because I think you have given people hope. I really do. Because a lot of people, they're just like, oh, it's Dan, and he's done all these things, and that's really not me, and I'm not him, and blah 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 blah. Because I hear that all the time too.
Yeah, and to that, what I will say is that I failed the majority of my school education. I barely scraped past with a degree in BA Honours, and that was in three-dimensional design, which wasn't even a recognised qualification anywhere. And I was left with no chance, no hope, and I was just a party animal on drugs. And I was lost. I didn't fit in anywhere. Didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. And, I had absolutely nothing going for me. And it was simply the determination to learn everything I needed to learn and to take the actions that I needed to, however frightening they were, that was the key for me to succeeding where I am now. You can't buy courage, and you're certainly not born with it. It's something that you cultivate, and it begins by making the choice right here, right now, that I am not going to live a mediocre existence. I choose to live an extraordinary lifestyle where I get to earn really good money by making the world a better place, and to create and live a life I absolutely love. And once you've made that commitment, it's about saying yes, reading, going out and spending time with people that have that kind of lifestyle. Keep inquiring, keep searching, never stop, never keep pushing, never keep hustling. And bit by bit, you start off very small. But let me share with you how powerful small movement is. An oil tanker, they're huge vessels that cross the sea to get oil, across the seas. For them to navigate around an island, they need to turn the main controller that controls the rudders 12 miles before an island. And the only movement that they make with a rudder is something like a quarter of a degree. But that quarter of a degree is the only movement that they need 12 miles down the road for the oil tanker to have totally swerved to the right or the left of that island and be in a totally different direction and course. And so that goes the same for us. You only need to take one tiny little action every single day, but that has a compounding effect on where you end up, and you end up excelling so much more than you ever thought you could do just by taking that small action today.
I had two people, right, that I was kind of dealing with when I was younger. And I said, hey, you should do this little business here, right? It was basically making jewelry for kids and stuff like that. So I had two people. I had one person said, let me think about it. And I had the other person that went and did it. Which one do you think made it work?
It's so obvious, isn't it?
The person that went and said, let me go think about it. Very intelligent, right? Had every excuse why this wasn't going to work. The other one just started doing it and made enough money to buy a little computer and a little Nintendo DS thing at the time, and as they were kids, So it was like the one succeeded, but wasn't the smartest in school. The other one that was really smart in school spent all that time thinking about it, figuring out if it was a viable thing to do, and decided it wasn't.
Yeah.
See that? See, that's the thing that Dan's talking about here is, of course, financially, yes, we have to be responsible and stuff, but to make a decision, you just say, let's do it. Doesn't need to be a whole lot of thought behind it.
Yeah. Richard Branson's favorite quote is, screw it, let's do it.
Exactly. So, hey, we were talking about the epidemic that's going on right now. And I thought of something else. What about elderly people who can't go get their medicine at this point? Why don't you set up a service that goes and gets their medicines and delivers it to their door rather than having to go out in a risky situation?
Yeah, and if you're worried about niching too tightly, just put a list of all the things that you think people can't do right now because of the coronavirus.
Yes. And just put it on a thing, and you can make a flyer like Dad was saying. Here's all the stuff I could do for you, and
that's it.
There you go.
That's it. And of course, be responsible. Like, research how you need to physically protect yourself from the virus. You know, like, you've got to cover yourself in a whole plastic zip-up outfit and goggles and everything else.
I don't.
You know,
because you could go through the drive-through at some of the places. Like,
right.
And not the stores, but some of the, at least here in the U.S., our pharmacies have drive-throughs.
Oh, really?
So you're dealing with one person.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, but people don't have to know that. I mean, that's fine. But yeah, they have drive-throughs. You know?
Yeah.
So if you're getting, a lot of the stuff is not that hard. Another way you can do it is like Walmart over here. They will, if you go ahead and you give them all the groceries that you need and you pay for it and everything, they'll have it ready for you when you get there, and one person can deliver it to you out in the car. You don't even have to go. You know, you have to go inside for a minute, but generally they'll have it ready for you.
Yeah,
See,
brilliant.
There's ways to get around it if you just think about it hard enough about how you can do it. And then those people are safe and you're safe and everybody's happy. It's a win-win situation. You're serving the public and you get paid for it.
Yeah, and I think, on the flip side, you've got other people that have got already established businesses, and they've got products or services that, like an events business where it actually requires people to actually meet for the event to go ahead. It's all being cancelled. And they're being left in this really, frightening, difficult situation where their business is starting to fail and they're wondering what to try next. There's, right now, what we're dealing with is the initial fear phase of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you now, this fear phase will pass. The coronavirus won't pass as quickly. The coronavirus will continue spreading around the world in different places. But the actual fear of it will fade away. And during that phase, people will adapt and start going online more, video calling more, finding ways of running their businesses. And I've now got contacts that have gone and moved whole events into online experiences,
mm-hmm.
so that then they can still deliver what it is that they do. So don't get swept down with the fear of this. I get it. It's hard. It's confronting, and we don't know what's going to happen. But you have the choice to breathe, take a breath, look at this, and see what solutions you can come up with, thinking outside the box, and leverage what we've never had before, which is such amazing technology in the internet. Really, really amazing opportunities out there. And out of this, you could grow and give creation to a whole new business idea that could take off.
Absolutely. Like right now, we are not passing the virus back and forth.
Yeah.
But yet we're meeting and we're talking and we're having a good time and we're educating people, and that hasn't stopped just because I couldn't meet you in person.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It is such a wonderful day and age where we can communicate around the world. I'm in the US, you're in the UK, and yet, here we are sharing a conversation.
I'm actually in Malaysia right now.
Malaysia. Oh, I have not had one from there before. What is it like over there? That's amazing.
Oh, it's beautiful and warm. I think the weather's quite a lot like California.
Oh, wow. I wish I was in Michigan. That's all I have to say. But yeah, I mean, this has been such a good conversation, and we've talked about a lot of things that are holding people back, things that are current right now holding people back. If you had to say like one thing that could get people over, and I think we touched on it a little bit, but to get over their own self, what would that be?
I think we can only get ourselves over ourselves so far on our own, because let's say that we have a blind spot of, I'm not clever, I'm stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a blind spot that we have. We can't even see it. We don't know it. what happens is when we try empowering ourselves, we're trying to heal a blind spot with a blind spot of I'm stupid, I'm not clever. It's like trying to heal a blind spot with a blind spot. You can't do it on your own.
Right.
If you're really that stuck, you've absolutely got to get into conversation with somebody else. Even if they're not an expert, just somebody that's at least got a bit of ambition and drive in them, and just have a conversation with them about what you're dealing with and how you keep producing the same results, you know? And a conversation like that can open things up, can get things beginning to move forwards. So what I say to people is don't sit in stuff on your own. Pick up the phone and get in conversation. Even better, have a conversation with somebody that's much more successful than you. Find a way of speaking to them. Even better than that, find a coach or a mentor and have a conversation with them. You know,
absolutely.
Like
yeah.
that's what I would say. That's what I would
You
say.
have to find someone that's there, or you know what I'm saying though, where you want to be, because you can't see the forest through the trees, they say. There was a movie called this is kind of way out there, but there was a movie at one point, and it was about the Mothman prophecies, and it said that why is this being knows so much, or can, how did they know what they know about what they were kind of like angelic type of things that were in the fictional movie or whatever, that they could tell the future, and they were telling all these statements. Well, how can they do that? It says it's not so much that they know more than us. They're sitting in a different point of view. So they're sitting way up high and seeing everything from down below. And then it's just their point of view and how they see things. And so when you get a coach or a mentor, it's kind of like that, because they're already where you have been. They see a little bit more than you do, and they can help you to navigate your path and almost predict your future.
Yeah, it's not so much that they can see ahead or more than you. They are just not you.
Right. But they can, though. In some ways, I believe they can, because as a person that hasn't made it, they can only see the defeat. You know what I mean? That's all they can see for themselves at that point. But when they talk to somebody else, they've been already where that person is, and they can see something else.
No, not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
From my experience, you've got two different kinds of coaches. One is a coach, one is a mentor.
Okay.
A mentor is the one you're speaking of there. A mentor is somebody who's already achieved or got the results that you want, and they can guide you in how to create similar results that they've got. But a coach may not necessarily have got the results that you want, but they enable you to see where you're in the way of yourself, where you're being limited in your perspective. The reoccurring thought could be, I've tried everything. Okay, so the coach asks, okay, so let's break this down. What have you tried? Let's write it down. Okay, I've tried knocking on doors. Okay, great. What else have you tried? I've tried messaging people online. Okay, great. What else have you tried? I've tried speaking to people in supermarkets. Okay, let's look at the first one. You say you've knocked on doors. How many doors have you knocked on? 20. Okay, you've got it. How many people have you written to online? 30. Okay, great. So now we're beginning to get a big picture. Do you believe that in knocking on 20 doors that you've given a fair chance of finding out if people are genuinely interested in what you have to offer? Right. No. How many of those doors are opened? 8 doors. So you had 8 doors open to you. And out of those 8 people, how many conversations did you have? Well, 5 of the people slammed the door in my face. So you had a conversation with 3 of them. Yes. But 2 of them didn't own the house, but 1 of them did. So you spoke to 1 person who owns 1 house. And you think that 1 person is going to give you enough of a demographic to tell you that this is going to work or not work. And by now they're like, But they think I've tried it all. They really have this experience of I tried it all, but the coach has enabled them to break down that view that they have of themselves that's causing them to not go further.
Right. Right.
And
That
so
that makes
that's
perfect
coaching.
sense. Oh, I get you 100%.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what you do. Do you coach? Do you mentor? What services do you provide?
I'm both. I'm a coach and a mentor. Like
Okay.
I can mentor somebody in becoming an international speaker. I can mentor somebody in closing $50,000 in an hour from the stage. I can mentor somebody in how to build a business from zero, from nothing on the street or online as an online expert, and and earn really good money. Why? Because they're things I've actually achieved and done myself. But my real skill is actually in transformational coaching. And transformational coaching is a skill of using a deeper form of coaching where you guide somebody to become aware of what are the deeper ways of thinking or viewing themselves in the world that's causing them to not be effective. Because I've noticed the greatest results in my life and in my clients were the ones that came once they transformed these ways of thinking and viewing themselves. Like, I can't do it, I don't fit in, I don't belong here, I'm a waste of space, I'm not loved, whatever it is on this deep level. And I think for me, the difficulty has always been in having somebody be open to the possibility that they may be thinking that on some level. They think it's because they haven't knocked on enough doors, or they haven't had enough conversations, or which it can be. But the reason why somebody isn't having enough conversations or isn't knocking enough doors to begin with is because they're not empowered, they're not unstoppable, they're not waking up day with sheer inspiration in their veins. Why is that? Because really they don't think they're going to succeed. They don't think they have a chance. And that is only ever down to a disempowering view that we have of ourselves. And that's where the biggest shifts happen. You clear that out of the way, people knock on enough doors. People have enough conversations. If somebody doesn't know how to do something or doesn't have a strategy, with the right mindset, they'll have enough conversations, they'll find a strategy. So
Absolutely.
my life's work now is all about enabling people to clear away the thought patterns that cause them to not take effective action, so that then they do take effective, life transforming, massive action, because that is where the magic happens. That is where the magic happens. And that's what I specialize in doing now, especially for people that want to impact the world in a great way. So my thing is impact focused entrepreneurs.
All right. That's awesome. How do people get a hold of you?
So, we spoke about this earlier, and I said that I would do something special for your listeners.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I'm so inspired. I'm looking for somebody that really has a deep calling to succeed in an extraordinary way, earn a lot of money by doing what they love, and impact the lives of others in a great way through the delivery of their products or services. Somebody who's open to becoming written about in magazines, newspapers, who might even be open to becoming a speaker, traveling, because that's the kind of person that I want to empower and take to the next level. So what I'm willing to do is I'm willing to give away a complimentary transformational coaching session to the first 5 people that apply. And for that, that's totally free. And to those people that feel they are the one, if you have that calling in you and you think I'm talking to you, then reach out, click on this link. And from there, you'll be able to schedule that complimentary session and we can book that in. I'll give you some time away and let's get you to the next level. Because I know that if I get you to the next level, you're going to go out there in the world and do great things. And then that's going to leave me fulfilled. And from there, if you're interested to know more about how I work and my programs and courses, then we can have a conversation about that as well.
That sounds great. The link is going to be right below the description here, and in the YouTube, it's in the description. And all the other platforms, it's in the show notes, and that is readily available. I'm actually going to put it on the screen. You should be able to see it right about here. So I'll put that in there for you too.
Nice.
And yeah, it'll be completely awesome. I love that you tried to help so many people out. I really appreciate you doing that for the listeners here, because I know there's people out there that really, they want to succeed, but yet they're clueless right now. It's just like, I just keep hitting my head against the wall, and we want those people to be able to transform their life and to be able to take advantage and and go ahead and get that call. I appreciate you doing that for us.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. Really, my life is all about seeing people succeed, because I struggled for years. I went through absolute hell and back to try and succeed. And so now my commitment to the world is to just save as many entrepreneurs as possible from the long, painful road with, likely onto mediocrity, and to have them break through, access their power, take amazing action, and to create results that we can celebrate together. That fulfills me more than anything. I love doing that.
That's amazing. I've had a wonderful time having you on the show, and it's been an outstanding conversation. And I really appreciate you being on with me today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
All right, everybody, if you could, number one, I'd really like you to take advantage of this offer, because I think it could really change your life. I mean, not just saying that. I really believe that. I believe it can change your life. And if you're the people that Dan's been talking to, please click that link below. Also, subscribe to this channel and click like if you like the video and the contents of the video. I really appreciate everybody that's listening. Appreciate you. You have a wonderful day.